Alright, so today we're going to graph the four linear equations to determine a rectangle, then state the ordered pair. So we're going to have an ordered pair for the vertices of the rectangle. So as we look at these four equations, a couple things to notice. First, notice that these two lines have the same slope, and when two lines have the same slope, they are parallel. And then notice that these two lines also have the same slope. That means those two are parallel. And then the last thing to notice is that these two slopes are opposite reciprocals, so that means that these lines are going to be perpendicular to each other. And when they're perpendicular, they make a right angle. So let's go ahead and start by graphing these. So we're going to graph this first one. Y equals negative 2x plus 7. That's way up here at the top. Then we go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, all the way, border to border, because we don't know what this is going to look like yet. Okay, now let's graph our other line. Let's graph negative 2x minus 3. Go down to negative 3, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, and then up 2, the opposite, up 2 to the left 1. Okay, let's graph our third line. Y equals 1/2 x plus 2. So we'll start here. The y-intercept of 2. Now we go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. And let's go back now. Down 1 to the left 2, down 1 to the left 2. And let's draw this line. And then our last equation, y equals 1/2 x minus 3. So go down to negative 3, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. And let's graph that line. Alright, so we have our four lines graphed, and if you look at the lines, the red and blue line are parallel, like we were talking about earlier. The green and black line are parallel. Now if you look at the green and the blue line, they are perpendicular, and so that means that they make a right angle. And so in a rectangle, we have four right angles. And so now it asked us to state where the lines cross. What are the vertices? So let's go ahead and start here. Call this one 1. So to get to here, I have to start at 0, 0, and I go over 2, up 3, so 2 comma 3. This would be a good time to pause the video and see if you can get the other answers by yourself. We'll go ahead and call this one the second ordered pair. So we'll start at 0, we go to the right forward, down 1, so we have 4 comma negative 1. Our third one, I don't have to go left, I don't have to go right, so I stay at 0. And I go down 3, so 0, negative 3. And then our final vertice, to the left 2, up 1, negative 2, 1. So we have our graph, the lines cross, they make their four vertices. Now it said graph a rectangle, so it should look something like a rectangle. If you have something that doesn't look like a rectangle, go back and double check your work. Alright, let's look at our next example. write the equation of the four lines that form the rectangle. Write your equations in slope-intercept form. So as we look at this rectangle, notice that we have two sets of horizontal lines and two sets of vertical lines. And so we talked about this before. When we have a vertical line, we're not going to be able to write it in slope-intercept form. And so to write that, we just say, where does it cross the x at? Where does it touch the x-axis? So this thing touches the x-axis. This vertical line touches at -2. So that one is x equals -2. So we have another vertical line. Where does that touch the x-axis? And so that touches at x equals 5. So we have the two vertical lines now. Now let's take a look at the horizontal line. Now you actually can write this one in slope-intercept form. So this actually does have a y equals mx plus b form. So it touches the y at 4. So we know that it has a 4. But when you go to do the slope, you don't rise at all. So your rise is 0, and your run could be anything, 1, 2, 5. So 0 or 5 just becomes 0, and so you end up having an equation that y equals 0x plus 4. And you could technically write that, but when you have a 0 times x, you might as well just go ahead and write it as 0, and 0 plus 4 is just 4. And so the better way to write this one is just y equals 4. And our last one is the same type of horizontal line. Where does it touch the y-axis? It touches at -1. So we have y equals -1. So we have our four equations of the lines that represent this graph.